Hello and welcome to the show. This is Andy Shed Live for Series 16, episode number 14 for Sunday the 3rd of November 2024. Hello everybody and welcome to the show on this, Sunday the 3rd of November. And welcome. Is everything in sync? Is everything as it should be? Because I've got absolutely no idea if it is or not. Yeah, I'm just having a little look what's happening. It doesn't tell me. Don't know where that setting was. Oh yeah, 300 milliseconds sync offset. That should do it, I think. Right, so everything should hopefully be in sync. Hopefully I'm speaking at the same time as I'm moving my lips. If I'm not, please let me know. A few things are a little bit different tonight because we have left Restream, because they were charging us the earth to do it, basically. We're back on YouTube and we're back using Open Broadcaster and that. Hello to all the people at the OBS project, by the way, who make this brilliant piece of software that we've used to broadcast Andy Shed Live pretty much every episode since we began. And it's a really good piece of software and it's free. It's called OBS. Find out more about it at the OBS project. Just type that into Google. Hello to all the people who are in the chat tonight. Sorry it's not appearing there, but because we're having to alter things, that chat that appeared there, at least in recent times, was provided by Restream. So we need to find another way of doing the chat again. Go back to how we used to do it before. Which might be better actually, because I could always read it better before. It was clearer to me. I'm just having a look. I'm looking on my phone now, see, like I used to do, like the old days, to see who's actually here. Who have we got? Dominic is here, says evening all, might be a bit late for this one. Currently stuck in Tamworth on my way back from Crewe. Oh dear. I saw some interesting BR clone phones, which is shared on the forum. And remember, if you want to go and have a little look on the forum, it's here, gpotelephones.proboards.com, if you want to see what phones Dominic has found. Wesley's here as well. Hi Wesley. Christopher 2000 is here as well. He says he's getting a phone set up in his new house. He's got two GPO 746s set up in his new home. His red 1968 one downstairs, in his new living room, and his 1968 black 746L upstairs outside the bedroom. And they are both hardwired, going to a PBX. It says, and run on my 4G phone line and not on my NBN VoIP line. And it says, Andy, I sent you an email to show the phones too. He has indeed. He's also sent a video, which I'll show you next week, of how to wire American push-button phones the right way around. Because if you wire them the wrong way around, the A and the B leg of American push-button phones, they don't ring apparently. But he's made a video all about it. I'll show you that video next week. Because basically we're having a few techie gremlins here this week, so I can't do it easily this week. But next week I will show you that video. Gambo's here. Hey, he says, hey troops, just finished early, so should be home. Oh, because he sent this a little while ago. Just about in time. And as I said, Wesley's here as well. Oh, are they all the way up, those? No, they're right way up, aren't they? What's that? It says goal on it. on YouTube these days. I've got no idea what that does. Set a goal to engage with your audience in a new way. Once you reach your goal, celebrate with your community. Pick a goal, 10 super chats it says. Super chat colour, teal or higher, £5, of which YouTube will take half of it. No, thank you. I don't think we'll be bothering with that. Yeah, talking of YouTube taking half of things. Oh, hang on, I've done that wrong. Yeah, talking of YouTube taking half of stuff, I would the patrons have all had a message from me this last week to say that we are quitting Patreon, which is actually true. We are quitting Patreon. It's not quite happened yet, but it'll happen sort of on the next month, which comes round, because Patreon does things about a month in advance sort of thing. But we are quitting Patreon, and it's all to do with Apple. Basically what's happened, Apple have turned round to Patreon and said, going forwards, if you want to keep your app available on the Apple App Store, we want to take 30% of all transactions made on Patreon. So basically, Apple have said, for every £1 that somebody gives to their creator on Patreon, so you guys who are patrons, every £1 you give me, in the future, if you do it on an Apple device, Apple are going to take 30% of it. Now, if I was Mr. Patreon and Apple had said that to me, I'd have told Apple where to go and shove their App Store. But in an unbelievable act of rolling over, Patreon have said, okay, Mr. Apple, that's fine, we'll give you 30% of everything that we take for the patrons. Of course, Patreon are still taking their cut as well, so that 30% that Apple are taking comes out of what I would have got from Patreon. So, basically, why should you guys who want to support me, why should you be paying them? So, we are leaving Patreon, and we are going to be doing, I think we're going over to Ko-Fi or Buy Me a Coffee or something like that, where you will be able to effectively buy me a cup of coffee if you want to support the show, rather than doing the Patreon thing. Later this month, which is November now that we're into, I don't think we've done it in time to stop the November payments on Patreon, but after that, all the payments are going over, and will stop basically after November, hopefully. So please check your bank accounts, patrons. If after the end of November, if Patreon are still taking money, let me know, because they shouldn't be. Right, so that is that. So yeah, there's all sorts happening in the mad world of Andy Shed at the moment. Neville's with us. Hi, Neville. What it says, evening Gambo, just here wiring up a Snowdrop, a Snowden PB trim phone. A Snowden trim phone. Colour please, Wesley. Yeah, excellent. And Christopher says he's got his phones now going via 4G because the VoIP line failed. Surprise, surprise. Gambo says, Sov's not home yet. As in Tesco's, and yes, I work in Iceland. Lol. So you're in the wrong shop then, Gambo. Unless you're doing a bit of industrial espionage, you're in the wrong shop, matey. Right. Anyhow, things they have been arriving this week. I've been having terrible trouble with clocks this week. Yeah. You may notice there's no ticking this week. That's because the clock up here, I've stopped it while we do the stream. Because although it's not terribly loud here in the room, it comes across really loud on the streams. So I have actually stopped the clock while we do this tonight. I'm just getting more and more stuff on this desk, sort of half-done projects, and that I really do need to get some things completed. Yeah, clock, broken clock spring. I had to a West Clocks, Big Ben clock. Well, actually, it's a Baby Ben mechanism. But it's when they put Baby Ben mechanism into Big Ben clocks, if you know anything about West Clocks. So that is broken. I have this week had a telephone arrival, though. Something I wouldn't have bought if I hadn't seen it in person. I shall put it down in front of this t'other camera, and then you'll have the surprise of what it is. Here it is. Right, there it is. Now, what is that, you ask yourself? It's very odd indeed. It's very odd indeed. What is it? Is the question. Look at the hands there. It's like something out of Star Trek. What is it? What's it say underneath it? Well, nothing other than something somebody stuck on that says small numbers. But there's no other clue, nothing gives it away under there. I'm going to peel that off and see if there's anything underneath it. Though it won't peel off. It's the sort of sticker that doesn't want to come off. It's going to come off though, because, oh, there is something underneath it actually. Right. If I can get the remains of this sticker off, there will be something underneath it now. What's the best way of doing that? I wonder. Probably just water, isn't it? Right. Allow me to get a drop of water. One of Arthur's peas pudding tubs. Very useful, these. Well done for sending these, Arthur. They're absolutely brilliant, these. I'm just disappearing for a second to get some water for us. I'm going through the number 73 door. Various people have said to me over time, they've said to me, that door behind you on the live streams, it looks a bit like the door from number 73 with the panels in it. Could you paint it red with a big yellow 73 on it and remind us of our Saturday mornings as kids in the 1980s? It is very tempting. It is very tempting. Right. I'm just going to wet it with my finger, I think, and just see if I can rub it off. Right, have a look what I'm doing. So all I'm doing here is just wetting this with my finger, and hopefully, when it soaks through, hopefully the paper will just rub off without damaging what's underneath it. This might give it away. When I clear this, I can feel the paper starting to disappear. Patents applied for. What the first row says, patents applied for. What patents, I hear you ask? Because it looks like a strange foreign phone, doesn't it? You know, like maybe a Russian one or something like that. You know. But hang on, because I'm rubbing more off. Hope you're watching this, Christopher, because I think this one will interest you in particular. Right. So now I've revealed N2020C21T. Don't know if you can see that in the light. N2020C21T. So N. Well, when things have an N number, they're often something to do with Ericsson, aren't they? And who do Ericsson make phones for other than the GPO? People like telephone rentals? Well, surprise, surprise, telephone rental sticker on the back of it. So it is a British phone. And then you look at it a bit closer, and although the dial looks foreign, look a bit closer. Is it a dial 21? I think it might be. So I believe what we've got here is some weird Ericsson phone with a dial 21 fitted to it. But what is it? No idea. Anybody got any ideas in the chat? Let's have a look. Jambo says he's not home yet. Christopher says he's setting up an Ericsson, but not like that. It says N1900E244 is setting up, ready for CNET when CNET recommences. Because my CNET server is down at the minute, but I am working on it, so hopefully it'll be back up soon. So, yeah, hopefully that will be back up and running soon. Chat seems a bit slow tonight, but yeah, so is this an Ericsson phone, this thing that I've got here? So let's see if we can rub a bit more paper off. It will eventually come off, of course. It's just, you need a bit of patience to do it, but I think we've revealed what it says anyway, haven't we? So that is what it says. So N2020, does that make it an Ericsson? It's a good question, isn't it? I don't know the answer. Right, I'm going to get my my thing of water out of the way. And then we'll see how I get put that down there a minute. Right, so what do we know about this? Well, when the more you look at it, the more the things that seem familiar. The feet on it look terribly familiar, don't they? And if we turn it over, that looks awfully like a dial 21. There's no opal on it, so I'm going to try and take the finger wheel off and see if it looks familiar on the inside. What it says, the Snowden trim phone he's working on is a two-tone red push-button one that he mentioned. Right, is that a 10 button or a 12 button, Wesley? If it's a 10 button, best of luck, you'll need it, because they break. They stop working for some reason, the 10 button ones. I think it's something to do with the relay in them. It says, I'm pleased to say it's working absolutely fine. That's brilliant news. And working fine on digital voice in conjunction with a dialer tone. It says it's got a really strong ring. I've often found the tone callers quite feeble. Well, you do know you can turn them up and down, don't you? Dominic says, check you back in on the last leg of my journey. And Christopher says, running my phones on 4G is cheaper. It's cheaper to run your phones on the mobile phone network than it is on the wired network in Australia, apparently. And Dominic says he's found out that the BR phones he shared on the forum are on a CNET network. Could well be. It won't be the CNET. What it will be the... It's like something like the Association of Minor Railways or something, which is all the heritage railways. It is a version of CNET, but it's a separate system that all the heritage railways are on, run by the same guy who looks after CNET in the UK, a chap called Ian Jolly, who I do need to phone actually, so I'll speak to him about that. Where it says Snowden push button trim phones are all 10 button LD. Right. I didn't realise that. I thought there might be some 12 button ones. Oh. Well, if you've got a 10 button one that's working, you've done really well, because they often don't. So I don't know what you've done to get one to work. Right, let's get back to what we are doing here then. So I've taken the finger wheel off now, and this, you see, you thought it was a black, when that was on there, you kind of thought it was a black dial, didn't you? And it's not, because I take that off, and here's your dial plate now. Oh, and that, how weird is that? Don't break that. I won't want to have to try and get another one of those. So you're now taking that off, and now there's no dial there. It's just part of the phone. What the hell's going on there? The dial is buried in the middle of the phone. Okay. So given that the dial is buried in there, how does this attach which looks like a dial 21 finger stop. So I think we're going to have to try and take the bottom off this to find out what's going on. So let's have a look. Right, this is all guesswork now with this, but I'm assuming it's that screw. Right, I'm as in the dark as you guys are about this. This screw is releasing something, I think. Right. Rather long screw with not a lot of thread on it, actually. So right, that has now come out of there. It has, however, not released anything. Oh, it has. Right. Right, now I think some sort of weird clip at that end, yeah. Right. So, the base of the phone comes off. There you are. Oh, that looks familiar, doesn't it? And it has got a paster inside it. It's got a 24A and a 24B bell. And then it's got a circuit board with a number on it, N115110C1 on that circuit board. Right. And this is clipped on here. Dare I unclip it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, it's the fourth one along that it's clipped onto. Can I even unclip it? Oh, has it been on there so long it just won't come off? Right. I need to resort to small needle nose pliers. Luckily I have brought my toolbox in today, which contains the needle nose pliers. So, yeah, that's off then. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually on terminal 5 that. 3, 4, 5. It's on the 5th terminal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Although that's calling it T8. And that's calling it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's 7. That's 8. I've got no idea. But it goes next to the green one. Remember, it goes next to the green one there, between the white and the green. And the other one goes on the this is just asking for trouble. Goes on the far end, right. So I can now take the base out of the way, I'll put that there, and now we've got this. Right. Well, this is an attempt to make things as cheap as you possibly can, isn't it? Right. Not terribly au fait with this. Phillips screw to come out of there. This must be one of the last dial telephones made. It absolutely must be. Screw to come out of there, and a screw to come out of there. Okay, so taking those out now, it does this now, lift out. The simple answer to that is no. Have I missed a screw somewhere? How the hell did they put this together? It certainly doesn't want to come out, that. Right. There's no clue on the top. The finger stop I don't think is actually attached to anything. I think it's just shoved in this thing here, shoved in this plastic slot here. I don't think it's attached, it's glued in or something. What a horrible, horrible telephone. Completely, as far as I can see, unserviceable. They've glued in that, as far as I can tell. And made the rest of this as absolutely cheaply as they can manage, which is very. Because there's no connections to connect the dial to the circuit board. The dial must just be made as part of the circuit board. I'm wondering if I've missed a screw in this circuit board somewhere. There's screws in it, so they obviously screw it in for some reason, and I've taken those screws out that I could find, but now it's just solder. Now, no more screws in there, and I can't get the damn thing apart at all. Right, what's everybody saying about this in the forum? Because it's perplexing. Well, as it says, he's had quite a few 766 push-button trim phones, only had one that was faulty. Oh, he's got lucky there then. Dominic says, looks interesting, is that a Russian phone? Well, not unless Telephone Rentals was supplying phones to people in Russia. Gembo says, that's a weird looking phone. It is. Says, what country is it from? Perhaps Ireland. No, I think it's from mainland UK, because it's Telephone Rentals. You know, it's been out on rental, Telephone Rentals. My guess is it's something that Nokia produced, because Nokia used to put N numbers on all their components, and there's an N number on here. There's an N number on the base. So, given that as a fact, shall we have a little look and see if we can do a search on the N number? So the number on this circuit board is N115110. Well, it's a part for a John Deere tractor or something, apparently, that. It's a pin fastener. So, let's try another N number. Let's try on the base, because that is probably what the actual thing is. N2020. Which is a camera, a Nikon camera. Right, let's assume it's Ericsson. I'll put Ericsson here as well. Ericsson N2020, N2021, N2022. British Telephones to the rescue again. Right. Let's have a look what they say about it. Oh yes, there it is. It's the Plessy phone. Right, here's what BritishTelephones.com have to say about it. They say the Plessy phone meets the most up-to-date requirements for a telephone of compact proportions, advanced design and economic cost. In other words, they've made it on the cheap. Built on radically new principles, glued together, with new and improved components, It combines simplified construction, glued together, with functional elegance, backed by high quality transmission based on CCITT recommendations. The new telephone is compatible with all types of automatic and CB exchangers and can be used as a main or extension instrument, fitted with optional automatic line regulator, shared service, or recall button as required. Standard provisions include several usually offered as extras: ringer volume control, no, it hasn't got that. Ringer volume control, carrying facility, i.e. there's a bit moulded into the case where you can put your fingers in, like on most phones. And tropical finish, glued together. Alternative forms of dial numbering are available to suit customer requirements. External features. The broad lower profile and angular corner treatment of the telephone is in keeping with the more mature current design trends. The traditional handset locating horns have been eliminated. The symmetrical lightweight handset, conforming dimensionally with CCITT recommendations, is located by mouthpiece and ear cap into side recesses in the case, which contain the bar-type cradle switch plungers. The base, which is fitted with non-slip feet, is formed as a low plinth. This styling feature is emphasized by suitable color contrast and shown in the table below. Black telephones are available if preferred. The transparent dial finger plate of tough acrylic, The transparent dial finger plate of tough acrylic is larger than hitherto. Finger holes are flared for easy finger engagement and reduced slipping. Are they? Are they flared? Let's have a look. Oh yeah, they are actually. They are. So again, don't try and be getting one of those, because that's unique. Weird. It's really weird. Right, what else did it say about it? Where is it? Handset cord entry is front central for convenience of both right and left-handed users, and to prevent cord fouling of the cradle plungers during conversation, with consequent loss of the established call. The thin, extra lightweight handset cord is the coiled, extensible type as shown in the illustration below. And the constructions, the colours are Scheme 1, case and handset hemp beige, base loam brown, cords elephant grey, desk block dusk grey. I assume that's the connector that connects it to the outside world. Scheme 2, case and handset lavender green, base ilex green, cords desk block, dust grey. Scheme 3, case and handset, silver grey. Base, Concord blue. Cords, Concord blue. Desk block, dust grey. So, the base is either Lone Brown, Ilex green or Concord blue. Well, okay, so the base, well, it's definitely not Concord blue, is it? That's definitely not Concord blue. So the base is not Concord blue, so it's not scheme 3. So it's either Ilex green or Lone Brown. Right, and the cords Ilex green, which they are. So it's scheme 2. So the case and handset should be lava green, but it's not. The case and handset would appear to be hemp beige, in which case the base should be Lone Brown. So I've got a weird mix and match of colours, it would seem. I thought it was weird that a sort of brownie phone got a green cord on it. Right, let's see what else we can find out about it. Mouldings. The case, base and handset mouldings are of ABS, an extremely tough material of excellent surface finish and uniform, light, fast pigmentation. It's light fast apparently. It doesn't, according to Plessy, ABS doesn't discolour. Right, okay. Alright. Integral features of the case moulding include the rear carrying recess, a housing for the dial mechanism, and shape stabilisation ribs. The handset is a similarly stabilised assembly of 2 parts only, which snap together, so you probably can't ever get them apart again, holding transmitter and receiver captive, and are further secured by screws, so you might get them apart again. The telephone base is provided with lugs for spring clip attachment of the ringer. Ringer sound is transmitted through slots in the base and in the carrying recess. These slots also provide ventilation, but are sufficiently narrow to prevent entry of insects, unless it's a skinny insect. Attachment of base to case is by engagement of lugs at the rear and a single screw fixing at the front. Case, handset and line block mouldings incorporate integral cord grips with staggered arrangements of pegs which remove all strain from the conductors and terminations within. The line block moulding is in one piece with a snap-on cover. 4 connectors are fitted for plug-in line cord connection and screw termination of incoming cable. That's the little terminal block, but I've not got that. Circuit board. All elements except the ringer are mounted on or directly attached to this board, so that must include the dial. The printed circuit is die stamped for maximum robustness and is protectively coated. The board plugs onto the underside of the dial. The board plugs on to the underside of the dial. No dial cord is necessary and is secured to the case by 3 screws, forming a strong shock-resistant assembly in which the components, notably the cradle plungers, are closely controlled in position relative to the case. The board also completes a virtually dust-proof enclosure for the dial mechanism. Micro switches are employed instead of conventional cradle switch spring sets, these being directly attached to the board, and are fulcrum brackets for the transverse operating bar, Flat extensions on the end of the bar form the cradle switch plungers. Contact pressures of 30 grams minimum are realised. Right. Dial mechanism. The standard speed is 10 plus 1 pps, pulses per second, and the normal make-break ratio is 1 to 2, with limits of 64% to 70% brake. The increased speed up to 20 plus 2 pps and or other make-break ratios can be provided to order. The lost motion period, basic IDP, is 240 milliseconds minimum. The mechanism is secured in the case housing by 3 screws. Right. So, if I've understood this right, then the dial plugs on to the other side of this circuit board. So the dial is in there and it's plugged into this circuit board. So the reason I'm feeling resistance on this circuit board is because I've got to unplug it, and there we go. And there it goes. And it is indeed plugged in with 5 pins there. How weird is this? There's nothing in it. There's literally nothing in it. There's that, whatever that is that a bank of resistors all in one thing? A couple of other discrete resistors, 3 what I think are capacitors, and a few links. How bizarre. Right. Oh, hello. That's dropped off. Oh, God. Oh, please don't fall apart. I'll never get it back together again. So that goes on there. That goes on there. Right, I'm going to put this down a bit while I investigate the dial, because there's really nothing to this. I mean, yeah, the Plessy phone. Right. So that's that. And I thought these were foreign, these phones. Turns out they're not. They're just cheap British phones. So if I see any more now, I will buy them, because I know they're part of the British story now. Right, so in here now then, we have indeed got a dial. Can you see that? And there's 3 screws around the edge, and it looks a fairly crap dial, that does. It's like the very late GPO dials, are very similar to those. I don't even think I'm going to disturb it unless I absolutely have to do that. I'm going to leave it in there and just see if it rotates. Let's put the dial back together. A minute. There is a hole in this to locate with that little gold. Why is that metal though? Why, you would have thought that would be plastic, wouldn't you? Because it is on some of the GPO ones. You know, if they're making a cheapened phone, you would have thought they would have gone all the way with the cheapening of it. It's got a countersunk screw and a countersunk thing in the middle of the dial. see. Oh yeah, it works well enough, that, doesn't it? I'm not going to mess with it anymore. That might break something. It feels really sort of fragile. It's like mending an eggshell. Yeah. How weird. Right. Not sure about this. I have yet to be convinced about this. One thing about it is, if you have a problem with it, it's going to be very hard to troubleshoot, because you can't use the phone with the case off, because the dial is hidden inside. You can't get at the dial and poke around on the dial to see what's happening, because to plug it in you've got to cover the dial up. So that's exactly what I'm about to do. So this then goes back on here like this. And you've really got to guess at getting these in, because there's nothing really to line these pins up. So you've really got to just guess what you're doing here. Just guesstimate the whole thing. Right, I'm doing it. Has it gone back on? I've got no clue. I think it's kind of in the right place, but right, let me put these screws back in. Well, it's interesting, the first time you take one apart, but there's not much in there to look at, is there? What are folks saying in the chat about it? Christopher says, I've never seen a phone like that. No, me neither, Christopher. Dominic says, Plessy seems to be big on cost reduction. I believe they were the ones driving the return of plastic bases on the 746 and plastic dial components. Yeah, it could well be. Blue and grey would be interesting, says Dominic. Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? Wesley says, I think it'll have been the newly privatised BT pushing Plessy and the rest of their supply chain for cost effectiveness, in all fairness, Dominic. I don't think it's got anything to do with BT though. It's telephone rentals, isn't it, which, as far as I understand it, were a private company. That's the wrong screwdriver. Where have I put my other screwdriver? I had... Oh, it's there. That's it. Right. Yeah, so as far as I understand it, telephone rentals were a private firm. Right, this is where you can find the screws don't line up to go back in, isn't it? And sure enough, they don't. Oh no, it wants a screw in that hole. That's just a random hole that didn't have a screw in it. That's why I can't make it work. Right. There was one in there. It's the strangest thing, this is. I think the way they saved money with these was by not having to make any, because it made the thing so horrible nobody wanted it. So I think that's how they saved money, by not producing anything. They would never have got away with supplying these to the GPO though. Can you imagine when GPO, when your phone was rented, and if anything went wrong with it, the engineers had to come out like for free and fix it? Can you imagine the GPO putting up with this? No, me neither. Right. So, where did the wires go? One goes out the back. I'm going to say it should go like that, because that seems to hold it tighter. So I'm going to say it ought to go like that. Then this one goes out the front apparently. But how? Then we've got this board with one wire that went it's a spade connector that just pushes onto the circuit board. It's absolutely bonkers. And one went on the very far end, like that. Right, I think this is supposed to go like that. To act as strain relief. The only person who's strained around here is me. Alright, then that. This resembles how the Jubilee phones and that have got a weird clip on the front of them that works in a similar fashion to this. That's then through a hole there, and that goes on there, like that. That's through there, like that. And then this last screw, thank God, goes in here and hopefully lines up with something to hold it all together. There we go. Right. Hello? Is that the designer at Plessy Telecommunications? Yeah, don't call us, we'll call you. Thanks. So, there you have it. The Plessy phone. Why? You have a phone where the cord comes out the front. Can you imagine having that on your desk? That and that. That's sat on your desk, yeah, and you're writing away in that. The cord comes out the front of the phone. It's just about as stupid as I can imagine it could possibly be. Absolutely barking mad. Absolutely barking mad. You can carry it, I'll give you that. But you say something about the cord gets in the way when you're using the phone and carrying it. Well, it would have just hang down there, wouldn't it? How would it get in the way? It gets more in the way bloody there. How stupid is that to put a cord there? Or have I got the cords the wrong way round? Does that cord come out the back and the handset cord come out the front? What do you think, children? Do you think the handset cord should come out the front and this should go out the back? I think there's a distinct possibility there. Alright, let's have a look. Christopher says, I'm heading off now. Bye Andy, bye all. Right, see you Christopher. Ta-da. Wesley says, Telephone Rentals was a subsidiary of GEC, I think. Yeah, that would kind of make sense. It says, I stand corrected. They fought off GEC's attempt to take over and eventually ended up going to C&W, apparently. It says the other way around with the cord will make more sense than you have it now. Yeah, I think that may be me that wasn't paying attention when I took it apart there, Wesley. Right, let's do that then. Let's make it the other way around. Oh God, that means I've got to open it up again. Right, put that screwdriver away. Not got much bench space at the moment. Right, let's have a go then. So, it's this screw here. Even this way round, it's going to be fairly bonkers though, isn't it? Do you think this green base is actually grey? That's gone a weird colour. So what we're saying then is that this goes up here somehow, probably laps round there, a strain relief, and goes out that little mouse hole there. Right, so I'll go with that, and then what we'd have to do is bring this one here. So now round here, this one will go sort of in there, round there, round there perhaps, and then perhaps over there, if I can do it. Hang on. Do we think it went round there? Like that. And then out there. I'd prefer that if that actually went through there, I think. And then went down there, around there, around there, and then around there. Then let's try that then. Okay. Not quite as crazy as I previously had it. but it's close. Right, put in the big long screw. It's only got a bit of thread on the end of it actually. Don't thread the screw all the way to the top. Saves money and time, and only thread it halfway. Save time and money. By the way, there's a new TV channel appeared called That's Christmas. It's just appeared on Freeview, and on that channel last night was 70s sitcom Selwyn Froggitt. I kid you not, I've not seen it since I was a kid. Magic Arm Morris. Well, okay. Right then. So is that how it should sit on there then? So the handset doesn't sit flat on the top, it sits sort of canked backwards. Yeah. You think that's right? So do we think that's right? Have we got a picture of it on the oh, telephone rentals model. Oh, these were different colours. And 2020 C21T was hemp beige and loam brown. And 2020 C22T was lava green and ilex green. And 2020 C23T was silver grey and Concord blue. And then 2020 C24T was black. I bet that's the rare one, the black one. Right, so what is this that I've got? It's a C21T, this. So what have I just said that is? C21T. So it's hemp beige and loam brown. Well, it's not, is it? Hemp beige, I'll give you hemp beige for the main body of the foam. This bit, I'll give you, that's hemp beige. But the rest of it is supposed to be loam brown. Now, I'll give you this might have been brown and gone a funny colour, doing what ABS does over the years. I'll give you that. But this cord, these don't tend to discolour much. This is definitely green. This is definitely green. So has somebody changed the cords on it? I do not know. And I kind of care even less. This is a sod to put down because where do you put the wires? It's the most untidy phone. It's so stupid having a wire coming out the back and a wire coming out the front. Who thought this up? I can kind of see why you might want it coming out the front, so when you pick the phone up, the curly cord only comes from like the front of the phone to you. Now, if you've got it like that on your desk, so you can sit back a bit more without the phone wanting to spin round on the desk, which it would do probably because it's not very heavy. But yeah, it's bizarre. It's absolutely entirely bizarre. See, I've I vaguely remember seeing these before, and I always thought they were like Russian or something, like somebody said earlier, but apparently they're not. They're British. How weird. Right. Right. Dominic says, it looks like the handset cord goes out the front from the photos, and that's how I've got it now. Looking at British telephones, it was on field trial in 1976 as a potential replacement for the 746. No way. The GPO would never have entertained trying to maintain something as poorly built as this. No way. Wesley says it's been seasonally rebadged. It's usually called That's TV. Oh, that television channel. Yeah, I think That's TV has got another channel though that is That's TV, because there's That's Movies and That's Drama or something like that. So there's one or two of them on Freeview. But yeah, it's now called That's Christmas, and it's got Selwyn Froggatt on it. Well, this is bizarre. I was fully expecting this phone to be foreign. I paid a tenner for it. I found it in an antique centre. I paid a tenner for it. I suppose it's worth a tenner. It's quirky, isn't it? It's a weird thing that didn't really take off. Let's have a look and see what else British telephones have got to say about it. An article from the Plessy Systems Technology magazine in 1969. And there was a loop disconnect version. Oh, there was a 10 button push button version of it, and it does show the cord coming out the front, and it shows the handset on the hook that way as well, so put it that way around. Yeah, very much a project of the 70s. The Plessy phone was a brave attempt by the Beeston plant, made in Nottingham, that explains a lot. Sorry, Nottingham. The Plessy phone was a brave attempt by the Beeston plant to produce a functional dial telephone at a more realistic cost than the expensive British Post Office specification telephone 706 and 746. A brave attempt, but not a wholly successful one, for the Plessy phone was not a success. It was not liked by customers, and in the end vast quantities were dumped on the surplus market at low cost. The whole telephone was a masterpiece of value engineering, in other words cost reduction. The dial was integrated with the case of the telephone, with the spring sets and mechanism moulded under the case, and the dial numerals screen printed on top of the case. A new design of one-piece terminal block was used, with the cover hinged to the base and held close by a single screw. This telephone was also tropicalized by default, which, according to documentation, was achieved by the slots in the base that give adequate ventilation to the interior while admitting sufficient light to deter any insects from setting up home in the instrument. The copper layer of the PCB was die stamped, which apparently provides a robust conducting path free from lift and hairline cracks, and of special significance under tropical conditions, corrosive residues. So it stops it corroding, apparently. The British Post Office also tested this phone in 1976, but decided not to use it in their portfolio as the phone was difficult to reassemble. You're not kidding. The receiver wires could be pinched between the two handset mouldings. The self-tapping screws in the handset case tended to become cross-threaded, and the phone did not use similar parts to the ranges the BPO already used. Users: very few. Pack systems. The telephone was flimsy and lightweight, prone to skidding across the desk. Line and handset cords were skimpy, and the whole phone had a cheap look and feel to it. The handset squeaked under hand pressure, and the dial numerals screen printed onto the telephone case were soon erased by people who used pencils to dial. The kindest thing to say is that the colour options were imaginative and attractive. Telephone rentals also use this model, but the circuit is very basic and it would have only been used on internal telephone systems. The regulator and induction coil have been omitted, probably the Type C variant. Yeah, there's no induction coil at all in it. Conversion to UK plug and socket system. These telephones have no screw connections and use push-on connectors instead. Because of this, the new plug-ended line cord will be connected to the junction box and the phone wired with as a single line phone. Remove link 3 to 4 inside the telephone. Didn't realise there was a link. Red wire of new line cord is connected to the red wire of the existing line cord. White wire of new line cord is connected to white wire of the existing line cord. Green wire of new line cord is not used. Blue wire of new line cord is not used and is insulated. Insert a 3.3k resistor between the green and white wires of the existing line cord in the junction box. Right. So that is it. So it's screen printed then on the surface then. So what he's saying is regarding the dial, it's on the front. No, I don't think it is. I think they've learnt and it is actually printed on the back. Yeah, they've not been that stupid with the dial. It is actually, the black of this is printed on the rear, so you can't scratch it off from this side, because I feel it would scratch off very easily, but you can't scratch it off by dialing. They've not been quite as stupid as British Telephones says. So that bit on British Telephones is wrong. It's not printed on the front, it is printed on the back, like most British Telephones are. So at least we don't have to worry about rubbing the numbers off the dial. The question is, does a normal sized opal fit the middle of this? I don't think I've got one handy at the moment just to find out, but we'll have a look at that for next week. But yeah, I mean, it's a thing, isn't it? At the moment it's not got a plug on the other end, and it's not got a box either, not got a junction box, is it? So I need to do something about this end of it, so I can plug it in and try it. But I will plug it in and try it. I will try and get it going over the coming week and see if we can get it going, because it's an but bless you, well pleased they'd spent all the money designing this, and then the GPO said, we don't want that. Yeah. Cost saving? I don't think so. But yeah, I mean, even this isn't flat. This is kind of dished in. Feels weird when you touch it. You know, that was flat. That would be a bit more sensible, but it's not. So they weren't popular at the time, so possibly quite rare now then. So to have got one, and it came from Mansfield, which is not far from Nottingham. So, you know, it's in Nottinghamshire, so perhaps it's one of the more interesting things in the collection. It's certainly unique. I haven't got another one. So there you have it. That is the Plessiphone. How bizarre, how bizarre. Yeah, I'll find blueprints for it as well. Oh my god. Yeah. Right. Okie dokie. Yeah, I don't think we'll, I don't think that'll be bothering anybody, will it? And it is Ericsson, apparently, because Ericsson and Plessy not one thing by then. I think they were, weren't they? So I found a blueprint for it, again on BritishTelephones.com, and on the blueprint it clearly states ETL. So it is Ericsson, hence the N number, and the N numbers all over it on the bits and pieces and that. So yeah, that's what it is. So it's a Plessiphone, although kind of thought up by Ericsson, you would see. So that is that. Ericsson telephone number N2020, N2021 and N2022. Yeah, so if you've got one of these, do get in touch if you've got one, because I'd quite like to see the other colours now, to see what the actual colours are all about, see if this is actually made out of two different ones. It may be that somebody's put bits of different ones together, and that, but luckily it's not cracked or anything. The plastic is in pretty good condition on it, and that, so yeah, it's an interesting cheap version of a British telephone. So there you have it. I shall wrap it up in its cord like I normally do with these phones, and just put it to one side for now. Right, that almost wraps it up for another week. I'm just looking what people have been saying in the chat. As I say, sorry the chat isn't on the screen tonight, but hopefully we'll get it back for next week. Dominic says, would it have made marketing a war phone variant cheaper, having the handset cord coming out of the front? I wonder. That's an interesting thought, that, Dominic. That hadn't occurred to me. And Dominic says, if Britphone ever make replica Plessiphone cases, the numbers would be spot on. Gembo says, I haven't seen any come up before, especially on eBay. I've seen something similar before that I just thought was Russian. I don't know if it was one of these or not, or if it actually was a Russian phone, but I have seen something similar before. It says, oh, I've just assumed it was a foreign phone. Yeah, I think that's probably what you've done, Gembo. I think you have just assumed it was a foreign phone. There's one thing I do know, and that is that people will be looking for them now. Yeah, people will definitely be looking for them now. So yeah, that is what they are. They're not foreign, they are British. They are a thing called an Ericsson Plessiphone or something like that. I like that. Rather than Ericsson N something something something, I actually like the name Plessiphone better, even if it was actually made by Ericsson. Yeah, I think we'll call it a Plessiphone. Yeah, not much more to say about it really, is there? Right. Yeah, so that, I think, about wraps it up for another week here. Yeah, you may have noticed we were on a little bit earlier this week. That's because we've altered the clocks. So what would have been 7 o'clock is now 6 o'clock, isn't it? Because we've put the clocks back. And I hate putting the clocks back in autumn. I don't think we should do it. I think the hour of daylight would be much more useful, sort of between 4 and 5 at night, than it is between 7 and 8 in the morning when nobody's up. It's stupid. Yeah, I hate altering the clocks, but that's why we're on half an hour early. I did wonder about going an hour early and starting at 6 o'clock, but I thought if I'm out I might not be back by 6:30. So the new time to put in your diaries, folks, is 6:30 for at least for the next few weeks, and we're hoping to be on at 6:30 most weeks. Thanks to everybody for taking part again. Just a reminder for anybody who is late to the party, particularly our patrons, that later this month Patreon will be stopping. We will not be using Patreon anymore later this month. There will be new ways that you can support the show. You will be able to buy me a coffee or something similar to that. I will tell you more about that next week as we are sort of getting there. But a big thank you to everybody who does currently support us on Patreon. And also thanks to the people who send stuff in as well. It's not just Arthur, although Arthur is one who does it, but various people, various ones of you, some of whom don't actually appear on here, but I think actually do watch the show, because they get in touch with me sort of offline, relatively local people and that. I think they sneakily do watch the show. You know who you are. But thanks to them, because one of them just came up to me the other day and handed me a box of telephones. So thanks to everybody for sort of donating stuff to the cause. Of course, we don't sell any of it. It just comes in here. I used to sell telephones that I restored and that, you know, a few years ago, but I don't do it anymore. And now the name of the game is to try and open a museum. That's the name of the game. Now, I've not really looked into it in any sort of detail yet. It is just a thought going round in my head. But if anybody's got any thoughts on it, please do get in touch with us. You know how to do it. Most of you know the email already. If you don't know the email, then go on the website, which is here, andyshed.coldpress.net. You'll find a contact us form on there. Fill that in and I will get back to you by email. It's just so I don't have to give the email out on here, because if I do, I get loads and loads of spam. And also, as we said earlier, remember, we do have a telephone forum. It's at gpotelephones.proboards.com. I know one or two people have been posting stuff on there recently as well. Right, that is about as far as we go for today. Remember, it's bonfire night. If you saw the clock earlier, we've got the special bonfire clock. Sorry we weren't on last week, because with us not being on last week, we missed out on the Halloween clock, didn't we? Yeah, so we did kind of miss out on that. But yeah, if you missed the Halloween clock this year, I'll show you the Halloween clock, just so we can say it got an airing in 2024. Here it is. That's the clock we should have used last week if we'd been on, but of course we weren't, unfortunately. Otherwise we would have used that animated clock last week. I like that one. I really like that one. It's good, that one, with the ghost zooming around the house in the background. Yeah. Right, okay, that is as I say, it for another day. I'm just putting my clock back to normal. Yeah, back to the fireworks. There you go. But yeah, we will be back to normal next week, around about 6:30 next week, for another episode of Andy's Shed Live. Until then, have a fantastic week ahead, and we'll see you very, very soon. I will just take one last little look at the thing. Arthur says, Arthur sneakily watches the show. Yeah, we know you watch it, Arthur. No, it was somebody else who's never popped up on the forum or something, who gave me a box of telephones the other week. Gambo says, I'm off tomorrow. He said, I've been on for 6 days and on for another 6 days. So enjoy your day off, Gambo. Wesley says, regarding the altering the clock, says, speak for yourself, I'm out the door at 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, if you're nocturnal that way around, Wesley. See, I don't do mornings. I'm really not a morning person. I'm a night person. You want something doing at like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm your man. You want something doing at 9 o'clock in the morning, I am not your man. Right, and with that I will say ta-ra to you. As I say, 6:30, we'll be back next week. But from all of us here for now, thanks for watching, and for the last time probably, here's the Patreon caption. Ta-ra for now.